at a time. We have Orly Zeewy that's joining us here today. I need Terry and I need Sybil. If you can find them first, Christopher, go ahead and grab them and bring them up on screen. If you need to take a break, Christopher, it's no worries at all. It'll take me just a second to bring them. Here we go. I see Terry, and Sybil has her video off right now. I'm going to bring her up on screen here. Do this? Oh, there she is. Okay, I think Christopher grabbed her before I did. All right, so ladies, we are here to talk today about personal branding for introverts. I'm delighted that each of you are joining us here today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight the screen for one person at a time here. So we're going to have Orly go first, and then we'll go to Terry, and then we'll go to Sybil. So Orly, I've known you for, I feel like a few years. We've not met yet in person yet, but I have been working with you, helping you with LinkedIn, and I've been learning about some of the great things you're doing to help people make their fuzzy clear. Why don't you take a few minutes, tell us your name, what do you do, and who do you help?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to this really great event. My name is Orly Zeewy. My company is Zeewy Brands, and I have one superpower. I make fuzzy clear. Did you know that we're being messaged at the rate of 12,000 messages a day? That's more than 4 million a year. It's a noisy world. I help founders, solopreneurs, and business professionals cut through the noise with messaging that attracts their ideal clients and go from invisible to memorable in 3 weeks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us here, Orly. And she's got such a great introduction, I think, in there. All right. Our next, oops, I did that wrong. One second. I don't make mistakes. I have learning experiences. And what I did is I moved the wrong person up and down. So there we go. Next up is Terry. And Terry, we're both in Metro Detroit. I don't believe we've met in person yet, but for the purposes of our audience here, why don't you tell us your name, what do you do, and who do you help?
Hey, well, thanks a lot. Yes, yes, we are actually in Michigan, and we have met with I think it was Empower Women, a program that we went to together.
Okay.
But yes, I'm Terry Beltran. My company is Beltran Media, and what I do is I develop the brand for both personal for professionals, especially ERGs. I help companies understand how the importance of DEI, especially today's world. And I also work with entrepreneurs and helping them develop their branding, especially purposeful branding, which is my area of a niche, which is really important to me right now because I really think the world and a lot of consumers are looking for what purpose are you fulfilling in their world. And I also work with Hispanic marketing and multicultural marketing, helping both corporations and nonprofits develop that closer relationship with a very important market that they need to reach out to, especially if they want to be profitable, both internally and externally. It's very important that they do this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Terry. And I was not sure if we met in person, so thank you for jogging my memory.
That's okay.
It's hard to remember, but thank you for that. All right. So next up is Sybil Stewart. And Sybil, you and I have met virtually. We've been interacting a lot. We've been doing some lives and things together. And so delighted to have you here today. So Sybil, why don't you tell us your name, what do you do, and who do you help?
Hello, everybody. My name is Sybil Stewart, and I am your brand architect. I help you get down to the business of building an ecosystem of branding that will survive on and off social media. So many of us focus on that 7%. Well, I want to help you focus on your day-to-day interactions so that it is a seamless transition when you are on and off camera. I specifically work with female founders who are interested in building globally recognized brands, from getting my women on TED to helping them take international stages. I am here as your personal brand concierge.
Wonderful. All right. So we are going to get a panel discussion started here today. I'm going to bring each of these individuals back as well as me. And I think this is a little Zoom tip. If you want to host and be on the lower, put yourself in on the last panel that you're adding back in. So it's a way of kind of reconfiguring that. All right. So we're going to be having a great discussion here on personal branding for introverts. I am an introvert. I don't know if I told you all that yet, but I am an introvert at heart. And I struggled a bit with my growing my personal brand as as I was launching my business. And one of the things that I struggled with, I'm going to ask this question of you, Orly, is I struggle with the sales pitch, and sometimes we hear this concept of a sales pitch versus an elevator pitch. What's the difference between a sales pitch and an elevator pitch, Orly?
Well, that's such a great question. And so often people confuse the two. The way I explain it is a sales pitch is all about you, right? When someone asks about your brand and you catch yourself talking about what you do and how you do it, you're actually selling. But what people want to know is how you help them. An elevator pitch is all about the why people work with you and the transformation they get as a result. A true and memorable elevator pitch has three parts. It states the problem, which is aligned with your superpower. It offers a solution, the benefit that you provide to your clients, and it ends with a result. You still can't hear me. That's so weird because can you all hear me? Because I'm getting this message.
I can
Yeah,
hear
but
you. It's just the volume's a little bit quieter for you, Orly.
I don't know why, because I have it turned up. I've got my microphone right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Can you, and you can,
Technology is great when we can hear you. It's just we might need to adjust the microphone a little bit. But thank you all for letting Orly know that.
thank you. So, oh, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Because when I turn it up too high, then I can't hear myself think because it's like screaming at me.
Right.
So just to give you an example, my elevator pitch is I make fuzzy clear, then I state the problem. How we're being messaged at the rate of 12,000 messages a day, which is more than 4 million a year. And how do you cut through the noise? And so then I say I turn fuzzy concepts into clear marketing messages that turn your brand into a lead generator.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a really good distinction between the two. So when I was asking people, tell us your name, who do you help, and what do you help them with, you would define that more as a sales pitch or
Yeah.
elevator pitch. Okay, I thought I heard that correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if you are really focusing on the what and the how, that's really more of a sales pitch. And
Okay.
here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with telling people the what and the how, but that's not the initial, like the way that you start a conversation is you want to start with the why. Then what you want to hear, what you want to listen for is tell me more. And when people say tell me more, that's the time you tell them about the how and the what.
Gotcha. Okay, good distinction there. All right. So next question, I'm going to flip over to Sybil, and let's talk about, introverts. We're having a hard time sometimes getting our name out there. So what tips do you have on, how do you build visibility and findability, but stay in your comfort zone? What do you think?
Absolutely. Fellow introvert here. So I'm so glad I'm with my people this morning. What I will say is, I have found that being a keynote speaker is the best way for me to be visible and findable without it exhausting me. There is such a difference between being in a small workshop where I can feel everyone's energy versus having the buffer of a big stage. So for those of you who are thinking, do I want to get paid to speak? Try the keynote stage. It is a far different experience. The other thing is this: video is in high demand on all platforms. That does not necessarily mean you have to be on video. So when I'm working with my clients, I say, instead of you being on video, why don't you show your behind the scenes? I have videos of my bookshelf, of my closet hacks. I have a client who specializes in makeup. You never see her. What you see is the transformation that she delivers. So those are your findable ways without you being in front of the camera. And then the last most powerful way you can do that is through video testimonials. One of the things that I think so many of us miss is our opportunities at getting other people that speak highly about us to say something. And the best way to do that is to give them a script of what you want them to say, the order you want them to say it in, and just like Orly said, so that way it sounds like your elevator pitch from their mouth. And again, it makes you findable without you actually being on camera. I also recommend, if you're up for the challenge, to start a YouTube channel. There are millions of faceless YouTube that have millions of views every day, and you don't know who's behind that camera. So those are my recommendations for those of you who are a little bit camera shy, that want to be findable, but not necessarily on the red carpet.
I love it. And by the way, if anyone has a YouTube channel, feel free to drop your link inside the chat now. You can pick up a couple of additional subscribers. We've got about 20 people on the call right now, so you can walk away with 20 new subscribers if you drop your YouTube URL into the chat right now. So great tips on becoming more findable, becoming more visible there. I'm going to shift to the virtual microphone now to Terry and ask our next question. let's talk about finding our brand purpose as a new solopreneur, a new entrepreneur. How do we unlock that brand purpose, Terry?
Well, I think the first thing you need to do, and a lot of us have something like this, we have core values inside of us that really drive our business. The reason why we want to create a business is really because we have something inside that we've experienced that we really need to fulfill for a target audience. And it's really ensuring that our brand message reflects that deep commitment on both the social impact and the authenticity, because it's so important to be able to share your why. Why did you want to do this? And really understand that that can shift too, because the brand purpose might shift with what's happening today in the climate and what's happening to your consumer. Right now, there's a lot of consumers that really look at that brand purpose, both for corporations and for small businesses. Business owners need to look at that because that's really making their decision on which brand to go to. So really understanding what transformation are you going to give for that customer? What is the transformation that you believe in, that you're going to give that customer also and fulfill, and that need is really important. And be empathetic to the audience. Understand that this is really something that's important to them. Many companies will look at this over profit and be very profitable and very large. There's many brands out there that have done this for years, and it's been very successful for them. And they're really good. It's really a good thing to start practicing. I work with my brands on that. I love working with brands that really say, I developed this cream because my daughter, when she was a baby, it wasn't good for her. Or I developed this program because it wasn't reaching out to this market and they were taking advantage of them and charging them more for what the service would not be charged if they knew the language. So these are important things to consider. And there are many brands, and it's really a passion of mine to really see that because I also feel purpose driven in the things that I do.
I love it. And I always think about the why too. Like when you say, why do you do it? I mean, why? We want to be self-employed. So we want to continue to be self-employed. So we need to make money on that, obviously. But I always think about like the why, even if I was independently wealthy, what would I do? Because it gives me joy and satisfaction and because I have those gifts and talents to help others. Right. So yes, we need to be bringing in income, but the why goes deeper than that, I think. And that's a
Align
great
those
point.
actions and your purposes together. Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Right. Okay, we're going to go back to Orly again. And introverts, I know we all struggle with different forms of, you know, call it imposter syndrome or having too much self-confidence. So, Orly, is it bragging when you're promoting yourself or your business? What do you think?
Well, that's such a funny question because like I've had clients ask me the same thing. Because I do LinkedIn rebrands that are, aligning them with their brand purpose. And one of the things that that I'm always surprised by is how often people leave out the very things that are what would attract someone to come talk to you. And I think of that more as talking about your experience in a way that's not bragging. It's really more about sharing information and letting people get to know you. And so if you can kind of reframe it and think of it more about, you're building relationships, and that's on LinkedIn and I know social media in general. I think the best engagement is where you're building relationships. And I think introverts, they know this instinctively, that we're not trying to sell people all the time. It's not transactional. It's more about wanting, to Terry's point, we want to show empathy and understanding for problems and issues that our clients have, and we're giving them solutions, right? So again, it's not selling, it's sharing, and it's helping people discover who you are and what you offer.
I love that. It's not selling, it's sharing, right? And it's just helping to clarify that. I think that's such a great point on there. Thank you, Early. Okay, Sybil, there is something really interesting on your profile, and it says something coming soon, October 15th. So, and I think this is a really great job of how you can use LinkedIn to kind of tease some things out, which gets natural conversations going. So, what's coming up on October 15th? And then also give us maybe some ideas on brainstorming as an introvert.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to share that with you, Brenda. On my LinkedIn Live on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I am revealing what's going on October 15th. But I will tell every single person on this call that that post was not my idea. I saw someone else on LinkedIn do it, and I said, the next time I launch something, I am going to see, does this work for me? And can I just say, I have had more traction on my LinkedIn post because people are nosy. They want the intrigue, they want the mystery. And if that aligns with your brand, then go do that. I followed that person throughout their journey and I was like, wow, this is really great. So that leads me to the second part of Brenda's question, which is all good business owners steal. Just make sure you steal from everybody. Okay. So swipe some copy that you love, subscribe to newsletters, pick them apart, put them in Chat GPT. And I literally have a Chat GPT code sheet. Like you can say, hey, Chat GPT, these are the 5 top influencers that I follow. Please tell me what their copy has in common and how it can sound like my voice. And Chat GPT will start giving you copy so you don't have to think so hard about what might resonate with your audience. Now, of course, the GPT hallucinates, but think, is this what I want to sound like? Is this what I want to be known for? And that is literally how it changed every single piece of copy I was writing. This is what I call legally stealing, right? Because while I'm stealing these people's copy that they dropped so kindly in my inbox, I also engage with their other content. I might go visit one of their classes for $49.95 or one of their $100 things just to see the experience that they're providing. And it's never somebody who I'm stealing business from. It's always in businesses that have my same market, but we have 2 different reasons of why we're approaching the market. So some of the copy that I looked at are from financial planners or bookkeepers. I'm not offering those services, but I loved how they engaged me as a consumer. So that means that copy must be working for the other people like me.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I dropped your URL. I know you put it in there before, but I put it again in case people were curious what I was referring to. I think it's both in your header image and in your headline. Is that correct?
Yes.
Both positions. That's really great. Well, we're looking forward to hearing more about that. And thank you for sharing about that brainstorming. And I put into chat, steal, but it's really get inspiration, don't plagiarize is what you're talking about there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Terry, I'm going to come back to what I was alluding to a little bit earlier when Orly was talking about bragging. It's not bragging if you're just telling people about yourself, right? So we also might struggle with, some of that negative self-talk. So any advice for our introverts today on turning off or reframing negative self-talk as we're promoting ourselves and our business? What do you think? You're muted. I get to use my very high-tech, low-tech sign here today. Send mute. There we go.
I am. There I am. Okay. So if you could lip sync, you knew what I started with, but that's okay.
I do. Yep.
No, first of all, I always hear about self-negative thought. We call it also imposter syndrome, but I look at it more as an ally because those little words and what we call women's intuition sometimes can be a warning sign for us, but we need to look at it differently. If we're having that sort of negative self-thought, we got to really think more and ask those questions. Is this true that I'm thinking? And what part of it is it true? And if it's true, what are some of the things or maybe education or some tools that I need? And if it's not true, what else could be true? But then when you come down to it, if you analyze yourself like that, then you see at the very end that this is not true. I am fine. And this can be for anyone who's maybe a professional, just trying to see whether they can go into a promotion, or maybe someone who's just starting a business and as an entrepreneur, not quite sure, am I going to be good as a coach, or am I going to be good in this area, or is this the right area to go into? So those are sort of things. And I think the other thing that's really helpful, and I think just because all of us are from Innovation Women as well, I think that community is very important too. It really helps. I know that if you're an entrepreneur going into an area, it's pretty lonely. So being somewhere where you have a community or small, or just feeling comfortable to be there and be able to speak up, maybe you're going to listen more. And the good thing about introvertedness is you're good listeners and really kind of listen and learn from others and then move forward with that. And that's really important. I know that also when I speak to ERG groups, I always say, write things down, write them down like a journal and find out, all the times when you feel that way, really kind of analyze what made you feel that way. And then write down your assets, all the things that you've accomplished, because you really need to have that self-information put out there, post it somewhere and have it everywhere because we all need that. We have moments where we'll feel, we're human. So we'll feel that way. It's only normal. So everyone goes through it and you're not the only one. But take those moments to really kind of take it more as an ally to you and really helping you develop more or reaffirm that you are talented. You belong in that area and you can also be very successful in this. And I always say you will survive, but you will
Yeah.
be successful is really
I got a
important.
Gloria Gaynor in there. I will survive, right?
Love that song.
I sometimes will hear my husband, talking, and he's working for a company. He's not self-employed, but he will sometimes say things like, "Chris, you're so dumb. Why did you do that?" And I go, "Do you know yourself the way that you're talking to yourself, like being very nice? Like you wouldn't say that to your kids. Why would you say it to yourself?" So,
Yeah.
and it's not just a soft talk in our head. Sometimes it's the things we say out loud about that. So,
And
really
if I
good
get
point.
a story to that one, which
Yeah.
Gloria Gaynor, I had a very good friend who was in corporate, and she saw me go from corporate to be an entrepreneur. And my first assignment was pretty crazy. I mean, I was like, wow, this is major. And everything or anything that you possibly be challenging happened. And in the end, she gave me this really great card, and it was Gloria Gaynor's song, I Will Survive, because I told her, I will survive,
Uh,
and I did make it through. And so, you have self-doubts as you go through, but it's always great to have somebody and a team there behind you, someone that's really going to just say, hey, you did survive, and here is this card. And I opened it up and I listened to Gloria Gaynor. I still have that up to today because it's inspiring, and it's also just reminds me that we all need somebody there rooting for us.
Okay, so I think we have time. I can do one more question for each of you, but we're going to do this if anyone's a Toastmaster, we're going to do this like a table topic style. So it has to be 1 minute or less in your response. If three of you can do a 1 minute or less, I think we can get one more question in for each of you, if that's okay. Okay, Orly, something from your profile. You have the statement that you make fuzzy clear. So, Orly, how do you make fuzzy clear? Tell us about that.
Have 1 minute. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is you have to figure out who you are, because if you don't know who you are, it's really hard to convince someone else to buy it. So that means you need your value prop, what makes you different. And then you have to remember that you're not speaking to everyone. Yes, you could help everyone on the planet, but no, that's not how you're going to make fuzzy clear. You need to figure out what's important to your ideal clients and speak to what's keeping them up at night. Because the thing to remember is if you speak to everyone, you engage with no one. The last step is connecting those dots, communicate clearly and succinctly the benefit you provide so you can attract your ideal clients who get it, want it, value it, and are willing to pay a premium for it.
That's great. And I don't have my stopwatch with me. I created a little like flip thing in case we needed to. Most of our Toastmasters, you're probably familiar with the red, green, yellow system on here, but it was my little high-tech, low-tech backup of that. Okay, keeping us moving along. Sybil, next question is for you. What are some common misconceptions about personal branding for introverts?
That introverts are not bold, willing to speak up and stand firm. Again, introvert, I love colors. I love the psychology of color. Y'all, being introvert is our superpower. We are people watchers, room seekers, and we intentionally build relationships. That's how we typically build our brand and our business. So do not think that you have to be the loudest person in the room to be the boldest person on stage. People know when I show up in rooms because I make my presence known. And that's an entirely different energy that only introverts will have.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Sybil. Okay, Terry, final question is for you, and then we're going to move on to our closing here. Terry, you talked a little bit about multicultural earlier. So how can our culture hold us back as introverts from building our business brand? And what advice do you have for overcoming that?
Well, given that it's Hispanic Heritage Month and I'm a Latina, one of the things that I'll say is culturally, it can hold you back because you're brought to be a person that doesn't have to, you shouldn't showcase that you are successful or shouldn't look for a promotion. You shouldn't like really blast out your name when you achieve something. or even, when you're trying to build a business, sometimes you might have self-doubts on that because you're being pulled back a little bit from your culture. So, and I think really to overcome that is really look at your strengths because, gosh, I always talk about diversity. I talk about culture. There's so many strengths that you bring to the table, so many innovations, so many things that you can bring that really will solve a lot of problems. So think about your strengths that you have because of your culture and really put those up front and really celebrate them. That's what I say.
Wonderful. Okay, great. Well, this is such a great panel, ladies. I want to ask each of you, because you've volunteered your time and come and share all these great insights with all of our attendees here today. And I want to give you the floor. If people are interested in working with you, can you remind us, and we'll start with Orly, can you remind us, Orly, what are the services that you have to offer? And is there any other resources you'd like to share with us?
So I know that you're going to be sending all this. Did you want us to put this in the chat or
You
just
can. You can, or I can do that for you if you're
yeah, just put it in the
multitasking.
chat. So
Yeah.
so zeewybrands.com is my website. I offer a complimentary 20-minute discovery call. And also I have a 10 tips to build your personal personal brand tips that you can download. And what's the last thing? Oh, and then of course I have my book, and you can actually on my website, you can go to the book section and you can learn about my current book and my upcoming book, which is the book that will be published in 2025, which is called Why Not Me? The Female Guide for Entrepreneurship.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I dropped those links into the chat. By the way, the chat's going to be downloadable. I'll remind everyone about how to do that in just a moment here. So, Sybil, next up is for you. If people are interested in working with you, remind us about what services you offer, and is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. So again, I specialize in helping female founder build global brands. So if you want a lightning round to ask me your $100,000 question, spend 20 minutes with me complimentary. Definitely check out my LinkedIn Live going on next Wednesday, where I reveal the October 15th. And then if you want a thorough brand audit, so often we leap into brand strategy without doing the audit. You can go either on my LinkedIn or my website and download that brand audit, and then we can partner together on figuring out how to build that brand ecosystem that helps create the memories that you want to be known for.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sybil. And finally, Terry, if people are
Yeah.
interested in working with you, what are the services you offer and any resources you'd like to share with us?
Well, services I offer is really an audience multicultural and diversity engagement for both company design and consulting. I also do a diversity and inclusion workshops and consulting. I work with entrepreneurs as far as making sure that they build their brand and coaching them and building master classes where they can attend and workshops. And also for employees that are really kind of wanting to make sure they develop their brands, I offer workshops and consulting there too. And some of the things I'm offering in this, I'll make sure that you put it out there, but I'm also offering some complimentary one-on-one brand strategy consultation for 30 minutes so we can talk about where you are and where you want to develop your brand, especially if you're just about to transition from being an employee to a entrepreneur. And then also I offer free access to a live masterclass that I'm going to be providing pretty soon, more on introduction of AI, the power of ensuring you're going to save some time, money, and how to elevate your brand.